Hello! Welcome to another video. My name is Kumari Singh and I am coming to you live and direct from my car in a car park, parked outside of my workplace. I am early for work, so I thought I'd make a video whilst I'm drinking my coffee and waiting to go in. It's also absolutely freezing outside, which is why I've got my coat on, got my work hoodie on, I've got a t-shirt on. Just layers. I've got layers on. So guys, happy Monday, but can we just discuss the weekend that has just gone? I think first and foremost we should just get out of the way with and address the corona in the room. By that I don't have corona, but it was just a play on the words. But yes, the UK is going into another lockdown come Thursday. I think it's the 5th of November, so I literally have 3 more days of work, which the government coincidentally decided to start on Thursday, knowing, they obviously knew that I work Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and they were like, you know what, let Kumari have her last 3 days of work and then we'll start the lockdown. Thank you, government. Yes, so much has happened on the weekend. Talking lockdowns, United lost against Arsenal last night. I just don't even want to talk about that. I get so depressed when United lose. It's just, I don't sleep well and I have anxiety. So let's just not talk about that game. Ol's got a lot of work to do there. And also, amongst everything else, amongst all the chaos, amongst all the madness, the one and only Sean Connery passed away at the age of 90. What an incredible actor, and he's actually the reason I'm making this video today. So Sean Connery was an amazing actor. What an incredible 90 years of life he had. It probably was filled with so many wonderful experiences, and I actually wanted to talk about one of his films today, a film recommendation that you have to watch, a Sean Connery film that you definitely have to watch. I don't know if it's like up there with his most famous films like James Bond, for instance. He was a badass Bond, the first Bond, which is absolutely incredible, but this film is called Marnie, and it's an Alfred Hitchcock movie, and it wasn't even that long ago, and my mum asked if I wanted to watch it with her. She'd watched it before but wanted me to watch it, and I watched it and I just thought it was such an interesting film. So this was an Alfred Hitchcock movie, guys, so I'm talking the dramatics were like 100. But yes, I am going to talk about Marnie. It was released in 1964, so he would have been 34 years of age, in his prime, the prime of life. So guys, if you have heard of this film and you're thinking of watching it, I advise you not to watch on this video, because I'm going to be spilling some tea, some coffee, some hot chocolate. I'm going to be spilling it all. I'm going to be talking about it because I just thought it was such an interesting film. And if you do want to know more about the film and you're planning on watching it, make a decision, guys, whether you want to carry on watching this or not. But for those of you who are kind of interested, don't think they're not going to watch it or highly doubt it, but you know, could spare a couple of minutes to listen what it was about, then you are my target audience for today. So this film is called Marnie. It's an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It was released in 1964, as I just said, and Sean Connery, I believe, was about 34 years old when he made this movie with Alfred Hitchcock. It also has Tippi Hedren in it, who plays Marnie, the main character. Marnie is about a woman, and she's basically a kleptomaniac, meaning she has these reoccurring urges to steal, and sometimes for no real reason or cause. She has to steal from people, and she basically gets this job at this accountant company, and she works there for a couple of months, and she gives a fake name, fake identity, and then a couple of months into her job she robs nearly 10 grand, like $10,000 from their safe. And it's an accounting firm, so they do keep money in the office. And that day she robs the accountant firm. Sean Connery's character, he's called Mark Rutler, he happens to have business at that accountancy firm, so he catches the end of the robbery as she's running out, but doesn't really get to see her 100%, but he sees something happen, and then later on the person who got robbed explains to him what happened. And then Marnie, she basically redisguises herself, puts a new identity on, goes back to Baltimore where her mother lives to lay low a bit, and I think she provides for her mother, and that's kind of one of the reasons why she steals, but you know, not a good enough reason to steal nearly $10,000 from someone. And you find little things out about her, like she's not very close to her mum, or her mum doesn't allow her to be or get very close to her. Marnie also has a lot of nightmares, but you don't get to see the whole nightmare when she dreams. And also she's really triggered by the colour red. She goes absolutely hysterical when she sees the colour red. And these dreams that she has, they're always violent, and they've always got blood in them, and then she wakes up. And then what she does is she re-identifies herself, so creates a new persona, and she goes and gets a job at a publishing company. And who happens to be the owner of the publishing company? One and only Sean Connery. Mark Butler in this case, and he kind of recognizes her when she goes in for an interview, but he doesn't say anything, and he just watches the interview take place. And then after she leaves the room, he tells the guy who's interviewing her to let her have the job. So she gets the job at his firm, and he always keeps an eye on her. He's always watching her when he walks past and stuff, but their offices are not like close together or anything like that, but he's always watching her. And then one day Mark asks Marnie, she gives a fake name at this point, she's called Mary. He asks her to work late, to do some work in his office on a weekend night or something like that. And she says yes, because she doesn't want anyone to suss her out or anything like that. So she goes in, and it just happens to be a stormy night, and it's full on a thunderstorm going on outside of his office, thunder, the whole shebang. And she gets really startled by really loud noises. It brings back all these memories that she can't really put together herself. There's just fragments of violence in her past that she can't somehow resolve herself. Anyway, she gets really scared by the thunder and starts to run towards the door, and then the rainstorm breaks through the window, and a tree trunk comes into the window. I told you, proper dramatic. And she runs for the door, starts screaming, and then he goes to comfort her. And before that happens, actually, they're just typing away. It's really nice and quiet. He tries to make conversation with her. He explains to her that he's a widow and his wife had died.
She's dead.
So he's not a married man anymore. And then the whole shebang happens, and she runs for the door. He goes to save her. He gives her a little hug, and he kisses her. And then they kind of form this social relationship. They start seeing each other a bit. They go to the races because she loves the horses. And at this point, you don't get any inkling that she hates men, that she hates males or anything like that. But then one day, when everybody leaves the office, that's the day she decides to rob the publishing firm, because where she works, opposite her is an office, and there's a massive safe there, and she's got the keys. Well, she manages to get hold of the keys to open it, so she tries to steal from Mark. No. Then she gets off with the money, and she loves horses. That's the only thing we know about her that she actually likes.
Oh, Borio, if you want to bite somebody, bite me.
And so she's actually brought a horse, and she goes to the stables where her horse is staying, and Mark, being the smart man he is, realizes all this stuff, manages to track her down because she let out just a little bit of information that she liked horses, and he finds her, and he knew that she was going to steal because he did recognize her from the accountancy firm. And then she has no choice but to come clean to him and tell him who she really is. And he drives her to a cafe, and he says, "You're not leaving here until you tell me absolutely everything." And she's like, "Why are you trying to understand me?" And he's like, "Not only am I trying to understand you, I'm trying to believe you." You're just like, Sean, he's just amazing. Anyway, he tells her that he's fallen in love with her now, and so she can't leave. And so what he does is he blackmails her and says, "You have to marry me, because I know all about you, and if you don't, I'm gonna dob you in." And she's like, "No, I don't want to marry you." And he says, "You have to now." And then she's like, "Fine, okay, I'll marry you." But he doesn't make it easy for her. He's obviously blackmailing her, and he doesn't know at this point that she doesn't like men. She's just putting on this facade. Anyway, he takes her to his house, and she meets his father, and she meets his sister-in-law. So his widow had a little sister that she raised, and when she got married to Mark, the little sister moved into the house as well. But now that the big sister, Mark's wife, has died, the little sister Lil, she's kind of all grown up, and she's in love with Mark, and she thinks that she's going to end up marrying Mark. So a little love triangle there. Oh, my coffee's going cold. Anyway, he takes her to the house. He says, "This is the woman I'm going to marry." They end up marrying each other. They have a big wedding. He spends so much money on her, like a ridiculous amount of money. So much money that Lil, the sister-in-law, starts to get suspicious, because not only have they had like this big wedding, he's booked a really expensive honeymoon. He's taken her on this yacht. So the sister-in-law starts to get really suspicious, and she starts kind of digging into Marnie and her background and her past, because Marnie at this point says that she has no family. The one lie that she did tell Mark was that all her family are dead, which is not true, because we know that her mother is in Baltimore, being distant physically and emotionally. And so Marnie and Mark go on their honeymoon to wherever they go. It doesn't actually specify, but we know that they're on a yacht. And then the first night they're on the yacht, they're in their nightwear. And you know, it's their honeymoon, so Mark wants to do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight. And she doesn't. "Hello, darkness, my old friend." Anyway, he tries to touch her, and she screams. No! She screams her head off, and he tries to kiss her, and she goes ballistic, and she goes, "Touch me one more time and I'll scream." And he's like, and she screams her head off. And then he's like, why are you doing this? Be quiet, calm down. You haven't like screamed at me before when I've touched you. And then he realizes that she doesn't like being touched. She doesn't like men. She's you know, like, I don't know the word for it, not a misogynist. She doesn't hate women. She's like a mansogynist. She hates men, but she doesn't know why she hates men. She just knows that she hates men. And we are like picking up all these little things about her, like she has nightmares, she doesn't like the colour red, she hates men. Anyway, she hates men so much that she just hates the sight of Mark now, of Sean Connery, and he's like trying to, you know, be intimate with her, and she starts screaming. And next thing you know, he's tried his luck, it's not worked. He goes to bed, he wakes up in the morning and she's gone, because she's only trying to kill herself. She would rather kill herself than be married to Mark. So she tries to go and drown herself in the pool, in the yacht, on the cruise ship, sorry, not on a yacht, on a cruise ship. She goes to try and drown herself. And like I said, it's a bit dramatic, I know. I mean, we do think that she could have just taken a moment and, you know, thought to herself, maybe I'm just a lesbian. you know? And then just told him to back off. But no, she just tries to kill herself instead. And he's looking for her on the cruise ship at this point. So she's not really succeeding in trying to kill herself because she's, it's just not working. And he finds her in the pool and he jumps in and he saves her in his bedsuit, okay? And I don't know if he packed an extra one, but he gets all wet and he saves her. And then he's like, all right, I promise you, I won't touch you. I won't do anything. Just don't kill yourself. And she's like, fair enough. So they have the honeymoon, they go back home, and by this point, Lil, the sister-in-law, has done some digging, and she's actually found out that Marnie has actually got a mother. Who would have thought it? And also when they get back to the house, she doesn't want to share a room with him. She says she demands a separate room. So they have separate rooms, and every night she has all these like reoccurring nightmares, and he comes in and he's trying to actually piece together what's wrong with this lady. Why does she behave like this? Why doesn't she like intimacy, closeness from a man? Why does she go mental when she sees the colour red? And so he hires a private investigator to also do some digging on her, and he realizes that she's got a mother in Baltimore, and he tries to make her happy as well. So he knows that she loves horses, so he brings her horse that she brought back to their house in Philadelphia just to make her a bit happy, because he knows that she loves horse riding. And then, guys, something happens to the horse. I'm not going to say too much, but something happens to the horse. I know you're probably thinking, well, you said everything else, why don't you just say what happens to the horse? Do you want me to say what happens to the horse? Okay. I don't know. The horse dies. Yeah. And so basically that just tips her over the edge. Get it? She's called Tippy, and it tips her over the edge. And basically our Mark, Sean Connery, James Bond, look at me now, I'm running a penny. Wrong film. Mark Rutland has just about had enough of this Marnie character. So he decides to take her back to Baltimore, because he now realises that she has a mother, and he goes to try and resolve Marnie's hidden dark issues, basically. Yeah, so he takes her to Baltimore. Again, it's a rainy day, it's a gloomy, dark day, and he thinks today's the day to take her back to Baltimore. So he drives her to Baltimore. She doesn't know where they're going at first, but she shortly realises that he's parked in front of her mother's house. And then they go inside the house, and we all find out why Marnie acts the way she acts. And I'm gonna leave it there. Aww. I'm not gonna say why. I guess you have to go watch it. Nice coffee. Yes, guys. If you want to find out why Marnie behaves the way she behaves, you better go watch it. Marnie. It's a great film. It's a really good film. It is proper old school. It is an old school film. But don't let that put you off, because it's got a really good storyline to it. Yeah, it is a great story. Sean Connery is a wonderful, wonderful actor. He always will be, and he's going to be missed dearly. And Marnie is one of his films to watch. So if you want to watch a Sean Connery film or want to start getting into his films, I highly recommend Marnie. Go and watch it. Guys, I think... what time is it? It's 5 to 4. I better head into work. I will see you guys in the next video, which might happen to be in lockdown. So stay tuned for lockdown videos. But yes, have a lovely rest of the week, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye! Mwah.